Welcome students to this next class on high voltage direct current transmission and facts. In the earlier class, we have started with comparison of HVDC lines and AC lines on various parameters. The first parameter that we looked at was cost aspect, and we have seen that the HVDC line can perform well on this aspect, or the HVDC line can cost less if the distance of transmission is above 500 kilometers overhead transmission. If it is underground transmission or cable transmission, this distance reduces only to 50 kilometers. Now today we'll see the comparison of the two lines on the technical performance. So technical performance is also equally important. We can't simply think about the things, because ultimately why we want HVDC line and facts controllers is the reason that we want to control the power as per our will. So HVDC has following advantages over the AC transmission line. It has full control over the power transmitted. Okay, so you can transmit 0 watts or 0 megawatts or 1000 megawatts on a 1000 megawatt line. So you can control almost from 0 to maximum. Ability to enhance the transient and dynamic stability in the associated AC networks. Now stability per se is not an issue for the DC transmission line because of the very nature of the line, but it not only is stable but it also supports the connected AC network. So the transient stability and dynamic stability is improved, enhanced because of the HVDC transmission line. Then there is a fast control to limit fault currents in DC lines. So as such, if you think about DC, the fault currents in DC are more dangerous as compared to AC, because in AC it is very easy for us to find natural current zeros in a sine wave. So in a sine wave you will have two natural current zeros in each half cycle. So at these natural current zeros we can easily interrupt the AC current. In DC we do not have any such capability. In DC we have to go, the current is always constant with respect to time. So as such there is no chance that we can reduce the current to zero. There is natural current zero. But the controller is so fast that it can bring down this current to zero in a very fast manner. Okay, so that is the advantage of the DC line. And in addition to these issues, there are many other inherent problems of AC transmission, like reactive power requirement is there, which is not there in the DC transmission. So technically the DC transmission line gives you a lot of advantages. So let us continue to see some of these aspects. So first of all, let us talk about the stability limits. Now what happens that when you transmit power over a distance, in AC systems the power is given by this formula, E1 into E2 sin del by X. E1 is the voltage of the sending end, E2 is the voltage of receiving end, delta is the angle between them, voltage phases, and X is the reactance of the transmission line. So the power is given by this formula, and as you can see it depends on so many of factors, like it depends on the reactance of the line, it depends on the delta, it also depends on the magnitudes of the voltages. Okay, so if you plot power versus distance and check the power transfer capability with respect to distance, you can see in this graph that the AC power is continuously reducing as the distance increases. For a short distance it is okay, but beyond that the power continuously reduces. Whereas in DC it is a constant power that can be maintained on the transmission line. So the power transfer capability does not decrease much in DC as compared to AC. Why this happens? What is the major reason? One of the reasons is the stability. Now what is this stability? In AC systems we have generators which are interconnected. These generators are basically mechanical systems which are converting mechanical power to electrical power. So in a sense it is an electromechanical system. In an electromechanical system, anything which happens in the mechanical part of the system has an impact on the electrical part of the system. So let us say that your generator is running at full speed and it is running at full load. That means the generator is supplying the entire load of, let's say, one city. One generator is supplying the load of one city. Now suddenly there is a short circuit in one of the major industries in the city, and because of this that industry is cut out from the generator. So generator which was running full throttle now will have an issue that it is running full throttle but there is no load. So this will make the generator to accelerate. So this will increase the angle of the generator delta. If this angle increases, the power transfer also increases. You can see based on this formula, you can see the graph between power, which is on y-axis, and delta on x-axis. You see if delta is 0, power is 0. As you go on increasing the value of delta, the power value is increasing across this blue line, and at a particular point when delta is 90 degrees, power is maximum. So this equation, since it depends on the value of delta, the power is maximum when delta is 90 degrees. And beyond that, if you increase the power, then you have an unstable region wherein increasing angle reduces the power. So we cannot lie in the unstable region. We cannot work in the region which is on the right hand side of this point. So this particular part of the generator P delta curve, this is also called as a P delta curve. This particular part of the P delta curve is of no use as far as the power transmission is concerned. Only the left hand part of this P delta curve is of use to us. So then even in this left hand part of the P delta curve, we have to maintain some semblance of security, and for that purpose we do not let this delta angle to be 90. We keep this delta angle much below 90, maybe around 20 degrees or 30 degrees. Somewhere here we are going to operate. At the most we can go to this point, so that we have this much stability margin. Okay, we have this much stability margin. So the point is, in AC systems we have to worry about that we stay away from this maximum power point. Why we want to stay away from this maximum power point? Because if we operate at this maximum power point and if there is any fault, then this angle will increase and it will take our system into unstable region, right? So this is the problem with the AC systems, right? As the distance increases, angle will increase. If angle increases, I am going close and close to this top point. This top point is kind of a dangerous point for me. So to stay away from dangerous point, I'll have to reduce the power transfer. That's why you can see here the power transfer of AC is reducing as I am going away from this distance. Because if I go further, my angle will increase. If angle increases, power transfer will increase. But I also need a security. I need to stay away from this maximum point, and to maintain that security, I have to reduce my power transfer. Because angle is increasing, so I will reduce my power transfer. Alright, so this is the problem with AC systems, which is not an issue at all for the DC system. So technically here the DC system is good. Then another important issue is voltage control. So when you talk about AC systems, again since this is a AC system, it will have the issue of the reactive power. So I am sure that you must have read about the Ferranti effect. Okay, so when a transmission line is under no load, from point A to point B, if you send electricity under no load, the receiving end voltage will be higher than the sending end voltage. Receiving end voltage will be higher than the sending end voltage. This is because of the line capacitance. So this is a peculiar phenomena in AC systems. Okay, if you have no load condition, so then your receiving voltage will be more than sending voltage. So in this example, it is shown just for your understanding. Sending end voltage is, let us say, 6 per unit. Okay, so under no load, the receiving end voltage will be higher. It will be around 7.8 or something. There will be a load at which the sending end voltage and receiving end voltage will be same. This voltage this load is called as the surge impedance loading, SIL. This impedance is known as the surge impedance loading. If you operate at full load condition, then the receiving end voltage will be lower than the sending end voltage, and if there is a short circuit condition, then the receiving end voltage will be 0. So one simple thing that you understand here is the voltage in a AC transmission system, receiving end voltage in a AC transmission system is a function of the load as well as the line reactance. So line reactance is impacting the transmission line as well as the load is also impacting the transmission line. So we kept in mind when we compare the AC system and DC system. Okay, so this is voltage control for a AC system. In DC system, no such issue is there because there is no question of the reactive power. What we have to. Now another problem with the AC systems is the line compensation. Now what is this line compensation? Line compensation is necessary for long distance AC transmission to overcome the problems of line charging and stability limitations. So you see, when you are talking about a AC transmission network, in a AC transmission network you have the line charging capacitances and the inductors in the system. So if you have studied the transmission network or transmission systems, you must have seen that so you have a system like this wherein the line compensation is necessary because there are line charging capacitances which take the power. Now if you increase the power transfer, then the voltage control is possible through the shunt inductor, series capacitor, static var compensator, etc. So whenever you have a AC system, this is a well-known fact that in an AC system you need always a capacitor bank to bring back the power factor, because most of the transmission line is inductive, the load is inductive, so the nature of current that will be drawn or will be going through the transmission line will be mostly inductive. In order to bring it to phase, we need to use the compensation. We need to provide some kind of a static var compensators or something StatComps. So this issue is not at all present in DC systems. This issue is not at all present in DC systems because DC systems do not require any kind of reactive power. So no line compensation is required. Of course, compensation will be required at the ends, but not on the transmission line. All right. Then there are certain problems of AC interconnection because of the presence of large power oscillations which can lead to frequent tripping. So we have a national grid, and this grid is supplied. Grid means it's a combination of generators from across India, from south, north, east, west, wherever the power plants are there, they are supplying power to the transmission lines. These lines are connected together. This is called as a grid. And when we try to connect two grids, now this problem is largely solved, but this still there are issues. So when you try to connect two grids, and if these two grids have different frequencies, then it is difficult to interconnect these grids. Okay, and if there is a power oscillation from one end to another end, then there can be tripping. Okay, this increases the fault level, and there are transmission disturbances, transmission of disturbances from one system to another system. So to solve this problem, we can use something called as a asynchronous link or asynchronous interconnection of two power systems can be done using the DC links. So near Chandrapur there is a place called as Bhadravati. At Bhadravati we have this asynchronous link where the southern grid and the western grid are interconnected via the DC link. So whatever is the frequency on one side, if it is say 49 Hertz, it will be brought to 50 Hertz, it will be brought to 0 by converting AC to DC. On the other side, if the frequency is 51, it will be also converted to 0. Now both are at 0, you can transmit power from one end to another end without having to worry about the frequency, right? So all these problems of AC interconnection, all these problems are solved, okay? But this does not mean that the DC is always good. It has certain problems. The biggest problem is the inability to use transformers. There are no transformer in DC system. So we'll see more of these disadvantages in the next class. Till then, please attempt the attendance quiz that I'll be sharing after the class. Thank you for attending the class and do revise till this point.